Hey everybody, welcome to Eileen's Craft Nook. Alright, so today we're going to continue on with some Halloween projects. I have this cute little pumpkin I guess it's a coaster. It could also be used on within a different project or on a tiered tray. It's just a, simple little pumpkin. I think what I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to pour him in an orange. I think I might use my glow in the dark. I'm going to do his eyes with black mica here, but I'm going to do the other side once he comes out. So I'm going to, because these will be indents on the other side where they're textured here, and then I'll fill them in from the other side and then put a top coat on. So I'm just going to do the eyes with the black mica right now, and then we'll get him poured. So I'm going to try to do this without getting too much all over, but as we know, mica is staticky, so I mean it's pretty much impossible for the mica to not go where you don't want it to go, just because the molds are staticky, and it wouldn't matter, like, I move my brush around, the mold's going to pull that mica off. But I will clean this up so that I only have the black where I want to see the black. I'm not doing his mouth on this side. I'm going to do that from the other side. Okay, and I'm just going to tap this off and clean it up. All right, so I have my resin mixed up. I think I have my glow in the dark orange, and I think I might try these orange sprinkles. I'll probably just use up the rest of what I have. So I'm going to put those in. I'm not sure how much they'll show through, but we'll see. And we'll give this a good shake. Make sure we get all the pigment that might be on the bottom. And we'll give this a good squirt in there as well. Just like that. Let's see what we have. Okay, so let's go ahead and pour this in. Might have a little extra. Might have to find a little pumpkin to put it into. All right, now it's not completely opaque. You can see the eyes through that. But let me find one of my little pumpkins to use up the rest of this resin. All right, I have a couple of pumpkins, but I also had an idea. Why don't I try putting this in here and seeing what happens? Why not? Let's give it a shot. So I'm going to put a little bit of the orange in there. I'm going to fill it. I did put a little bit of green mica down into each one, into the stems. Let's poke this eyeball in. I did get these from Dollar Tree. Let's poke that down in there. Let's see. He is going to float. Let's fill it up around it. Push down on it, get those bubbles to come out. And I'm going to put something on top of this to keep him in there. But pour a little more resin in. Give him a good push. Get those bubbles out. I want the front of the eye facing forward, not to the top, because I don't think you'd see it well if it was at the top. But, okay, so there's enough resin in there. What I'm going to do to hold him in there is the same thing I did last time with if you saw my frog video where I did the same thing and I put the eyeball into my frog. I used a mold on top with something to weigh it down, and which was fine because this is a bottom, so I don't care if it sticks. Just want to make sure it's push down, make sure there's no bubbles coming out of there. And I want the mold to make sure there's enough resin in there to fill up the mold. I'm pretty sure there is. So I'm going to take this coaster mold and I'm going to put that down on there. And then I'm going to take something heavy. Oops, slid right off. I got to find something heavy and put it on top to hold that down in. So what did I use last? Oh yeah, I used my stones. Let me grab my stones because they're good and heavy. So I have this little container of stones, and so what I'm going to do is just put that right on top like that and kind of hope for the best. They stay in. Just don't want to bump them. Okay, and then I'm just going to pour my rest of my orange into this little guy. I think I'm still going to have some left over. I might find a third pumpkin to use. Yeah. Okay, I will see everybody tomorrow. All right, so our pumpkin is dry, and let's start with let me bring you out. So let's see how this worked out with the eye in there. So look at that. Nothing wrong with the bottom of my mold. It held quite nicely. And I also have this pumpkin. So let's just take those out. You can see some of that sparkle at the top. These molds are really cute. I like these ones. Okay, and let's see how our eye turned out. Now I do have overpour, which I expected having that other mold up top, but that's going to be simple to trim off. All right. All right, you guys ready for the eye? Let's see what we got. Ready? I love it. Oh, this pumpkin has its eye on you. Oh, that's cute. Really, come on. Just for using an extra resin and a Dollar Tree item. Those turned out nice. I just gotta trim it up. All right, so we're gonna move on to this pumpkin, which is not done yet. We're going to finish him off today. So you can see he's got the sparkle. Not a lot of color. I'm gonna have to fix that up, but we'll get that done. All right, so what I think I'm gonna do with this guy is I'm going to use some acrylic paints. I don't really like how the eyes look with that mica. It just doesn't give it a nice solid coverage, nor do I like how the mica did with the stem. So, and I have these little eyes that I think I'm going to put in there. So I have black chalk paint that I could use, but I have some metallic stuff here, and this one's called Dragon Glaze. I'm not sure what this, I think this is just a white, yeah. So I'm going to try, I think I'm going to try this one. It's called a Color Shift. and it's by Folk Art. I'm pretty sure I probably got this at Michael's. And this one's called Black Flash. So it looks kind of goldish in here, but this is what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to give this a good shake and grab one of my little pots, and we'll see how this works. So I'm just going to put some in here, and what I'm going to use it for is I'm going to do the eyes, but I'm also going to do all the indentation in here, and then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to wipe it back. So that's what we're going to try to see what kind of, and then I can do a top coat with my resin, and I think that's going to give us a much better finish than the Micas will, and I think it's easier to work with. So let me just grab my paintbrush and we'll get started. So I'm going to paint the eyes with this to see how that looks. I'm not worried if I'm going outside the lines because I'm going to be wiping this entire thing down anyways. This may take more than one coat. I do want to get the mouth. So again, as you can tell, I'm just trying to get into these crevices. I'm not worried about what's on top. It's going to look messy right now, but we'll come back and clean it up. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera with my paintbrush handle. So it's looking kind of gruesome right now, but oh, it just came out fine. Now I can't get it to come out. Oh, there we go. Now I've used acrylics on my resin before. They come out just fine, especially when you add the top coat. And I think they just give a nicer coverage of color than Mica does. Now, if I were using a chameleon powder, that would be different. They give a nice solid cover when they're, you know, backed in black, but I find the Micas don't do that. Just want to make sure I get all those little crevices. All right, and we're just going to give this a little bit of time to dry. Still want to get in the eyes a bit more, just to get those. Okay, I'll be back shortly. I might actually use my heat gun just to help this dry quicker. All right, so I've given it a little bit of time to dry, and now I'm just going to take a wet wipe, and I'm just going to rub off the top layer of acrylic paint, and hopefully not impact the stuff in the down in the crevices. I want that layer to stay. So I'm just giving this a good strong wipe down. You see it's coming off nicely. So I'm just going to continue to do that. And once that's done, we'll be ready for our top layer of resin, just to give it a little bit of character. Actually, I kind of like those ones better. I could do like the spider web up here. Oh yeah, I like that. Spider. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks good. I could also add, what else? I could add a bat. Do I like the bat? I could put the bat up here. Or my green didn't turn out all that well. Oh, I like that. Okay. Just gives it a little bit of character. All right, I'll be right back with the resin. Okay, I have my resin mixed up. Ignore the little what's going on here behind the curtain. I was working on another project as well while I was getting this resin mixed up. So I'm going to add my top coat, and I just mixed up 1:1 clear resin. And I'm going to pour slowly. I'm actually going to start with the eyes. You know what? I didn't put any tape around this. I wasn't planning on this going over, but just in case, I'm going to use this mat, which is a good top coating mat. I picked this up at a local dollar store. Let me just see if we're still level. Okay. So I'm just going to start pouring this in the eyes. Now, resin, if the surface you are working on is level, resin will naturally just form at the edge, but as soon as you break the dam, I'll call it, once it starts going over, so if you had any breach in the edge of this, and once it started overflowing it, then it's just going to continue. It's like what I called it, a dam. That's exactly how I would describe it, is a dam. So just take your time when you're doing this. And you're going to want to use your light so that you can see it at the different angles, because especially with the clear, it can be difficult to see how close you are to the edge. And I'm definitely going to have to cover these up tonight. I don't know about where everybody else is from, but right now where I'm from, it is flies. Fly season, they're horrible. And we've had such a warm fall. I don't think that's not helping with the flies. So I have come into my room and found flies in my resin, which is a pain in the butt. You can see where I added the spider on. I think he's just add a little bit of personality to my pumpkin. So we get flies and these bugs that they look like ladybugs, but they're not ladybugs. They're, no, I don't think they bite, but they're just crawling all over. And you feel kind of bad. You know, I get around sucking them all up in my vacuum cleaner. You feel kind of bad because they do look like ladybugs, but then again, they're not ladybugs. I can't remember what they're called. Anybody else have those? All right. So I'm checking, make sure I have full coverage. And don't have any what they would call like a fisheye, where the resin, you know, if there was some oil or something from your skin. And see, I didn't wash this off with alcohol before I poured my resin. That's a smart thing to do to prevent those fish eyes, but I didn't do that. That's where you'll find like a resin that doesn't stick to a certain area. All right, so I'm just gonna take my lighter. Yeah, no, these are, excuse me, if I can find it. And I'm just gonna give this a quick go over. If there's any bubbles, hopefully I get them. And I'm going to cover this. See, I can see with my lighter, I can see a spot that resin didn't cover right there. Now it's starting to cover it up a bit because I heated it, but right here, there is a spot that didn't get covered up by the resin. And I can see a bubble in there too. So it pays just to check your work. Let's see if I can get that bubble to surface. Oh, I think it just popped itself. But those bubbles are kind of hanging out in the teeth, or the strings that are the teeth. So let me just, I don't see any in the eyes. I guess I just like these little teeth. So, go over it with the lighter once again. Checking for any spots I may have missed. And once I'm off camera, I won't do it now because you won't be able to see anyways, but I'm going to hold my light right down to it and then do a quick check, make sure there's no stray hairs or anything in it as well. All right, guys, I'm going to let this dry. It's not going to be much of a surprise when it's done tomorrow because hopefully it looks exactly like it does now, but I'll see you in the morning when it's dry. Here's our cute little pumpkin. He's all dry. You can see how nicely that top coat came out. It just, when you put a top coat on, it just kind of brings everything to life. Makes those colors pop. I think he turned out nice. The spider detailing. I want to show you a couple others I did in the same method. I have the mold for this, and it's the same way where it has like what I did was I did the mold in the purple, and then I painted it white after it was dry, and then I wiped it back, and then I did the top coat with this one as well. And this is just a cute little keychain. I did the same one here with the white and black. So that's it for today. Thanks everybody for joining me. Take care. I wanted to show you guys what they look like glowing in the dark. There's our pumpkin eye, all nice and glowy. And our main pumpkin. Super cute, guys. Thank you.